Hey guys, today we're diving into a topic I believe will not only change how you see relationships, but also help you discover a powerful inner strength. You've probably heard of no contact, that strategy of going silent and cutting off all communication to get someone back. And maybe you've even tried it. But today, I want to share a little known truth. No contact often fails because it's built on a foundation of fear and a desire to control. So what's the real power move? It's absolute indifference. Not a fake act, not a manipulation tactic, but a genuine psychological state where you are completely calm and unaffected by someone else's actions. I know it might sound hard to believe, but think of it this way. Your life is a movie, and you're the director and the main character. No contact is like pausing the film, holding your breath, and waiting for a supporting actor to come back. But absolute indifference is different. It's when you keep filming your movie, living your life to the fullest, and you know the film will be amazing, with or without anyone else in it. This isn't just a lesson on dating or relationships. It's a journey into self-mastery, self-worth, and inner strength. I'm not just going to tell you what happens to a woman when you become indifferent. I'll also show you how to reach that state and become a truly steady, unwavering man. Have you ever wondered what really happens in a woman's mind when she senses your attention is no longer as intense as it once was? It's not immediate anger or sadness, but a silent panic. She may not show it on the outside, but inside, everything is in chaos. According to many psychological experts, women have long been accustomed to being pursued and admired. They are used to men craving their validation and fighting for their attention. This queen position gives them a feeling of being desired, cherished, and most importantly, a sense of power. When you, the man who once craved her attention, suddenly pull back, you force her to face a harsh truth. The pedestal she was used to standing on suddenly disappears. The first reaction isn't the absence of you, but the absence of power. This fear isn't about losing a person. It's about losing the feeling of being in control and being able to manipulate emotions. I once saw this with a close friend of mine. He was dating a beautiful and charming girl. At first, he pursued her passionately, always texting first, replying instantly, and willing to do anything to see her. She seemed to love it, but never reciprocated with the same effort. After a while, my friend realized the relationship wasn't going anywhere and decided to focus on his career, stopping his chasing behavior. What happened next? She started texting him more, initiating conversations, and even trying to arrange meetings. That wasn't love rekindling. It was panic. She realized her most powerful weapon, her indifference and elusive charm, was no longer working. Her power was slipping away. She panicked, and that drove her to act to regain control. So, how can we spot this silent panic? It often begins with confusion. She'll notice that texts she used to reply to after hours now get a delayed response from you. The compliments that once flowed effortlessly are suddenly gone. The excitement in your tone, the eagerness in your energy, all of it seems to have been dialed down. At first, she'll try to rationalize it. Maybe he's busy, maybe he's stressed. But the more she thinks about it, the more she realizes something is different. You are no longer the man who once chased her blindly. When this panic escalates, it turns into hyper-awareness. She'll start overanalyzing every word you say, every gesture you make, every silence you hold. If you don't text her all day, she wonders if you've forgotten her. If you reply with short answers, she questions if your attention is elsewhere. And if you laugh less at her jokes, she'll feel like she's losing her charm. The peak is when her ego takes a hit. Women, whether they admit it or not, thrive on the idea of being desired. When the man who once validated her no longer plays that role, the illusion of superiority begins to crack. She'll ask herself, "Am I not attractive enough? Did he find someone better?" These questions attack her very identity. A woman builds her ego on the belief that she is irresistible, that she cannot be forgotten. When you, through your actions, show her the opposite, her world starts to tremble. Ask yourself, when did I give my power away, allowing my self-worth to depend on someone else's validation? It's time to take that power back. The first small step you can take right now is to spend 5 minutes reflecting on something you love about yourself that has nothing to do with anyone else's approval. Write it down and remind yourself of it every day. So, once the initial silent panic starts to fade, what's the next thing you need to be prepared for? It's the woman's endless testing. This is one of the most common and predictable behaviors. She doesn't want to face the truth that you've lost interest. Instead, she seeks proof. Proof that she still matters to you, that you still care, and that she can pull you back whenever she wants. And the only way to get that proof is to test you. These tests aren't always obvious. Many are disguised as casual gestures, innocent remarks, or subtle actions. But beneath the surface, each one holds the same hidden question. Do I still have power over him? That's the core of every test. She wants to know if the attention she once commanded from you is still there. Let's break down some common tests you may have encountered. The random text. One of the first tests is a random text. A simple hey, an emoji, or a question she could have easily answered herself. The content doesn't matter. The purpose is to see your reaction. Do you reply instantly like you used to? Is your tone still excited? Or do you now reply late with short, cold, detached answers? That tiny exchange tells her everything she needs to know about where your interest stands. The social media performance. Suddenly, her social media accounts become more active. She's posting more stories, carefully posed pictures, or even a photo with another man in the background. It's all intentional. She wants to know if you'll watch her stories immediately. Will you swipe up and comment? Will you ask about the guy in the picture? If you react, she feels she still has control. If you don't, she starts to realize her hold on you is slipping faster than she thought. The trip down memory lane. Sometimes the test becomes more direct. She might bring up an old memory between the two of you, a significant intimate moment. She'll casually say, "Remember when we..." Not because she wants to reminisce, but because she's observing your response. If you get emotional, if you laugh the way you used to, if you show her that the past still matters, she feels reassured. The jealousy test. Women know jealousy is one of the most powerful ways to measure a man's interest. She might intentionally mention another man, a coworker, a friend, or someone she just met. She'll casually drop his name into conversation, watching you closely, waiting for the slightest sign of discomfort. If your tone changes, if you start asking questions, if you show irritation, she silently celebrates because she knows she still matters. But if you remain calm, unaffected, and completely unbothered, That lack of reaction speaks volumes. It tells her that her attempts to stir you no longer work, and that truth hurts her ego. What makes these tests so fascinating is the psychology behind them. When a woman tests you after realizing your interest is fading, she's not doing it because she's happy or secure. She's doing it because she feels threatened. Every test is her way of trying to pull you back into her orbit to confirm that she still has the ability to affect your emotions. It's not always about love. It's about control. Be honest with yourself. When someone tests me, how do I usually react? Do I chase to prove my worth, or do I stand my ground and maintain my composure? Your practice exercise. The next time you sense a small test, instead of reacting instinctively, take a deep breath and slow down. Be silent and observe. Remember, indifference isn't a lack of care, it's the strength of not being affected. After the panic and the failed tests, if she still feels you're slipping away, many women will turn to another tactic. They start to act as if they don't care. This shift isn't because she has truly detached from you, but because she wants to protect her pride. Women are deeply emotional creatures, but they're also masters of appearances. They hate looking vulnerable. They hate looking like they're losing, and they especially hate letting you see that your withdrawal is affecting them. So instead of showing you her fear and insecurity, she flips the script and presents herself as if she has completely moved on. This mask of indifference is one of the most common shields women use. You'll notice it in sudden changes in her behavior. She'll stop initiating conversations, not because she doesn't want to, but because she wants you to think she doesn't need to. She'll start posting pictures of herself looking happy, confident, and unbothered, not because she is genuinely fulfilled, but because she wants you to believe that your absence has no impact on her. It's a game of perception. She wants to convince you that while you may have pulled away, she is already emotionally detached and doesn't feel the sting. But the irony is that this "I don't care" mask is often the clearest sign that she cares more than ever. I once heard a story from a friend in business. He told me about a very talented female colleague with a huge ego. When a relationship of hers ended, she began living her best single life loudly on social media. Every day, she posted pictures of herself going out, traveling, and meeting new people. Everyone thought she was over it. But one time, in a private conversation, my friend learned that she was doing it all just so her ex would see that she was doing fine. She wasn't truly enjoying those trips. She was just performing to convince others, and maybe herself. True indifference doesn't need to be announced. It doesn't need to be displayed. A woman who truly doesn't care won't go out of her way to show you how happy she is without you. But when she's posting more frequently, dressing differently, and surrounding herself with people just to show she's living her best life, that's not indifference. That's a performance. It's her ego's way of regaining control. She knows she's lost your attention, so now she tries to win the battle by making you believe that your lack of interest doesn't hurt her. Sometimes this act of indifference takes on a more extreme form. She'll become overly social, suddenly going out more, posting about parties, dinners, trips, or new friendships. Every picture, every update is carefully curated to create the image that she's thriving without you. But what she's really doing is hoping you'll see those posts and feel a pang of regret, a touch of jealousy, or even a flicker of curiosity. If she can trigger any kind of reaction in you, she'll feel that she still matters. And that's the real purpose behind the act. It's not about moving on, it's about pulling you back. Have you ever fallen into the trap of performing to prove something to others? Are you living your life for you or for what others will think? Your practice exercise. Today, post a picture on social media, not to impress anyone, but to celebrate a moment where you truly felt happy and at peace. When the performance of fake indifference fails, when she realizes her silence and her mask won't pull you back, many women will resort to one of the oldest and most powerful tactics in their arsenal, triggering jealousy. This is a tool women have relied on for centuries, not because it guarantees results, but because it almost always gets some kind of reaction. And for her, any reaction is better than no reaction at all. After all, jealousy is one of the deepest, rawest human emotions. If she can spark even a flicker of it in you, it reassures her that she still has a place in your mind and your emotions. The jealousy trigger can take many different forms, but at its core, it's always the same. She wants you to see her as wanted by others. Because if she can convince you that other men find her desirable, then in her mind, you'll feel the sting of competition, the threat of replacement, and the fear of loss. This is how she tries to reverse the dynamic. She's no longer chasing you directly. Instead, she plants seeds of insecurity, hoping that those seeds will grow into doubts strong enough to pull you back toward her. I've seen this play out with many friends. One friend decided to pull back and focus on himself after a long period of dating. He didn't reply to texts instantly, didn't initiate calls, and was no longer as excited as he once was. Just a week later, the girl started posting pictures of group outings, and in every shot, there was always another man standing casually near her. She even posted a short video on her story, with upbeat music and a male voice talking to her in the background. None of this was a coincidence. Every post was calculated to hit your weak spot, to make you question her loyalty, to make you wonder if you've already been replaced. And while she may act like it's all natural and innocent, deep down, she knows exactly what she's doing. Sometimes, the jealousy trigger becomes even more direct. She might flirt openly in front of you, laugh harder at another man's jokes, and give her attention elsewhere when she once gave it only to you. She wants to create a contrast to show you that while you are pulling away, others are moving closer. In her mind, this should wake you up. It should remind you of her value and reignite your desire. But here's the interesting part. The jealousy trigger is rarely about genuine interest in someone else. It's almost always about you. If she had truly moved on, she wouldn't need you to see her with other men. She wouldn't care if you noticed or not. The very fact that she's showcasing it, the very fact that she's putting it in your line of sight, is proof that it's not about them. It's about regaining control over you. It's not about love. It's about leverage. When was the last time you felt manipulated by a jealousy trigger? Did you let your emotions take over, or did you maintain your composure? Your practice exercise. Don't let your emotions be controlled by others. Practice a simple exercise. When you feel insecure, step back, breathe, and ask yourself, is this reaction mine, or is it the result of a deliberate action to manipulate me? When all other tactics fail, when panic doesn't bring you back, when the subtle tests don't move you, when the performance of indifference falls flat, and when even the jealousy trigger doesn't affect you. Many women enter the final, most revealing stage, the desperate chase. This is not their natural state. Women are not wired to pursue men the way men often pursue women. For most of their lives, they've been conditioned to be pursued, to sit back and let attention come to them. So, when a woman finds herself in the position of chasing, it's a clear sign that she feels something is slipping away that she cannot afford to lose. It's her last attempt to pull you back before she accepts defeat. This stage is often marked by sudden dramatic changes in her behavior. Where she was once cold, distant, or dismissive, now she becomes warm, affectionate, and even overly accommodating. She might start texting you more frequently, not with casual small talk, but with real effort, longer messages, deep questions, and emotional check-ins. She might suddenly want to know about your day, your feelings, and your thoughts, as if trying to re-establish the intimacy that has faded. This isn't because she has suddenly rediscovered her love for you. It's because she's terrified of the possibility of losing you for good. She may also become more available. If she used to be too busy to meet, her schedule is suddenly open. If she once made you wait for her, now she's the one waiting for you. If she used to hold back affection, now she's pouring it out without hesitation. This shift can be confusing for a man because it almost feels like she has changed overnight. But the truth is, she hasn't changed. She's just reacting to the loss of control. I want to share a story from one of my students. He was a man very focused on his career and personal growth. He was dating a girl, and after a while, he felt she wasn't truly respecting his efforts. Instead of arguing, he simply focused more on himself. She started with the tests, then acted indifferent, and finally, she fell into the desperate chase stage. She called him in the middle of the night to talk, suggested a trip together, and even made offers she had never made before. He admitted there were moments he was tempted, but he remembered my advice. This is not love. This is survival. She wasn't chasing him because she valued him as a person. She was chasing him because she valued the feeling of having power over him, and now she was fighting to get it back. The desperate chase is not about genuine transformation. It's about fear. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of being replaced. Fear of no longer having the influence she once had over you. Ask yourself, if a woman suddenly changed and chased me, would I be strong enough to recognize that it's fear, not love? Your practice exercise. Don't mistake someone else's actions as proof of your worth. Remember, your value is not determined by how others treat you, but by how you treat yourself. After all the tactics, the panic, the endless tests, the performances of indifference, and the desperate chase, a final stage emerges when reality sinks in. This stage is what I call acceptance. Acceptance is when she finally realizes that no matter what she does, she can't bend you the way she used to. No tactic, no game, no strategy has worked. And now, she has no choice but to face the truth. Your interest has shifted, your energy has changed, and you are no longer a man who can be controlled by her presence alone. This stage often comes with a mix of emotions: sadness, frustration, disappointment, but also, surprisingly, a newfound respect. Because while she may have lost your attention, she has gained something that not many men ever earn from women: genuine respect. At first, acceptance doesn't feel like respect. It feels like resignation. She may stop texting as much. She may stop posting to get your attention. She may stop playing the games that once defined her behavior. She becomes silent. And to many men, this silence looks like defeat. But in reality, it's more complex than that. This silence doesn't always mean she's walking away. It means she's recognizing that you are different. Unlike other men who crumble under pressure, who chase harder when threatened, you have shown restraint, self-control, and a level of discipline that sets you apart. And that realization begins to change the way she views you. Respect is born in the absence of control. When she sees that her beauty, her charm, her attention, and even her withdrawal no longer dictate your actions, she is forced to acknowledge your strength. In her world, most men are predictable. They crave validation. They fear rejection. They chase indifference. But when she meets a man who doesn't flinch at any of those tactics, it shatters her expectations. It forces her to reframe who you are in her mind, not as another man she can manipulate, but as a man who truly stands on his own ground. And whether she admits it or not, women deeply admire men who cannot be swayed by them. I have a story from a psychologist friend of mine. A beautiful and successful woman was used to having every man wrapped around her finger. Then she met a guy who was completely unimpressed by her looks or success. He treated her politely, but never had a hint of desire in his eyes. She tried everything, from wearing her most seductive clothes to posting provocative pictures, but he remained calm and unbothered. Eventually, she told my friend, "I've never met a man like him. He doesn't care what I want him to think. It's both incredibly frustrating and incredibly respectable." That is the power of absolute indifference. When you don't chase, don't fight, and don't beg for her to see your worth, you show her through your actions that your life, your peace, and your purpose are bigger than her validation. And in the end, that forces her to accept the truth and grant you the respect she never gave to anyone else. Are you ready to give up controlling the outcome to build a strong, unwavering, and respectable man? Your practice exercise. Don't seek respect from others. Seek it within yourself. Start by doing the things you say you'll do and keeping your promises to yourself. We've been on a deep journey together, from silent panic and endless tests to fake indifference, jealousy triggers, and finally, acceptance and respect. This entire journey isn't about playing a game with someone else, it's about playing a game with yourself. It's a game of growth, self-mastery, and building inner strength. Remember the garden analogy I mentioned at the beginning. Your relationship is not a battlefield, but a garden that needs tending. No contact is like stopping watering your garden and hoping the other person gets scared it will die and comes back to water it. But absolute indifference is different. It's like leaving that garden to go build another, better garden for yourself. A garden of your career, your passions, your health, and your growth. You don't care what happens to the old garden because you are busy creating an even more magnificent one. When you do that, you no longer need validation from anyone. Your confidence comes from the results you create and the values you live by. You become invulnerable, and that very invulnerability is what creates the strongest attraction. The woman who once had power over you will come back, not because you tried to manipulate her, but because you have become a man she cannot control, and that both terrifies and respects her. You don't have to play her games because you are playing a bigger game, the game of self-development. I want to end with a personal story. When I was younger, I used to be dependent on others' approval. I always tried to be liked, to get attention. When a relationship ended, I went through all the stages we've talked about: panic, trying to prove myself, and even desperation. But eventually, I realized something crucial. I was chasing validation from others when what I needed to do was validate myself. When I started focusing on myself, on what I truly believed in, on becoming a man of integrity and value, everything changed. Better relationships came to me, not because I won or manipulated, but because I had become a man of value who didn't need external validation. Never let your happiness depend on anyone else. Happiness is an inside job, and the greatest power a man can have is not in controlling others, but in being in complete control of himself. Your practice exercise. Spend 10 minutes every day this week doing something for yourself. It could be reading a book, going to the gym, or meditating. The goal isn't to achieve something, but to prove to yourself that you can take care of yourself and make yourself happy without outside intervention. Afterward, write down how you feel. You'll be surprised by what you discover. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories and experiences. See you in the next video.